I actually had a pool cleaning business for about 5 years with my brother. We recently sold that last summer.
What?
Yeah.
A whole nother guys, like, come along with this. This is insane. Dude's 24 year. All right, keep going.
Yeah.
I'm blown away.
So I had the pool cleaning business. We actually inherited it from my grandpa.
Okay.
And he retired. He had kind of worked it down to just what he needed. So I think we started with about 9 accounts, and we about 4x to that in the next 4 or 5 years. And we sold that last summer.
And what did you make on selling a business at 23 years old?
I think we sold it for about $50,000.
Welcome to the Mobile Podcast Trailer. My name's Jesse, and today I'm joined by my friend who I have not known for very long, but I know his wife for a number of years now, and recently I was asked to join the cast of The Newsies through Patriot Productions. And this guy, from what I understand, is the creator of Patriot Productions. And if you've never listened to this podcast, you've never watched this podcast is for the dreamers, the doers, the creatives, the faith-based people that never thought that they would be entrepreneurs. And maybe they have a hard time dealing with the idea that they are entrepreneurs. And so if you've ever been in a place where you've thought, how the heck did I end up here? Because now I'm running a company and I don't know what I'm doing. This is probably the podcast for you. And so listen, and I'm introducing to you Elijah Mizysak.
Thank you, Jesse. I'm excited to be here.
Dude, so I know that you're an insurance agent, and prior to, even though we were recording, and maybe some of that will end up on the podcast, you do a lot of different things, but the part that I'm fascinated with is you're 24 years old. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
So you're 24, married. You've been in your career of insurance for 6 years.
Yes, approximately.
And you started Patriot in 2021?
2021.
So, like, when I was your age, I was running around the country hoping to become a rock star and failing miserably at that. Take me through, like, kind of how did you end up here already at the age of 24? Like, I feel like you've lived a life of creativity, but also a little bit corporate, with, having kind of a day job. But, tell me, where did this all start, and how did you find yourself here?
Yeah. Well, we were talking about homeschooling just a little bit ago. I was homeschooled growing up, so I was and I work for my dad. He's the owner of Just Insurance Services, and we have a location in California, a location here in Arizona. So I kind of grew up, watching my dad work insurance, and it kind of gave him flexibility. He could work from home. We were able to travel a lot with it. And so when I graduated high school, my dad asked me, like, would you want to get your insurance license? And actually, Arizona is actually one of the hardest states to get your insurance license.
Really?
Yeah, just the test is just super hard. But I studied for that and I passed. And working like part-time, learning kind of the insurance business because there's a lot to it.
Right.
And then I really started diving full in at the office maybe 2 years ago. Working like the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think you're just like, how did I get here? I think homeschooling kind of gave me the opportunity to do a lot of different things. I knew in high school, like I knew I wanted to be in business and specifically be an entrepreneur. So I actually had a pool cleaning business for about 5 years with my brother. We recently sold that last summer.
What?
Yeah.
A whole nother guys, like, come along with this. This is insane. Dude's 24 year. All right, keep going.
Yeah.
I'm blown away.
So I had the pool cleaning business. We actually inherited it from my grandpa.
Okay.
And he retired. He had kind of worked it down to just what he needed. So I think we started with about 9 accounts, and we about 4x to that next 4 or 5 years, and we sold that last summer.
And what did you make on selling a business at 23 years old?
I think we sold it for about $50,000 or so.
And did you guys just split it and run?
Yeah, we just split it and run. We were done. It was great to us while it lasted, but we were just ready to move on.
Dude.
Yeah, and I think I got married last summer, and I'm like, because I was trying to pull 40 hours in the office plus for pools, which meant I was working weekends.
Right.
And I'm like, this is just too much for me.
You want to spend time with
Right.
McKenna. So
Right. So that's like professional life. So I was working 2 jobs basically. And I was doing Patriot. I started Patriot June of 2021. And Patriot was really my main gig for a little bit.
Okay.
Like my passion project. And I don't think I ever told you the story about how it started, but
no, and I want to know.
Yeah, because it kind of brings me to where I am today with it. So my grandparents are pastors. They're the senior pastors of New Promise Church. It's where I grew up going to church. Since then, the Lord has just kind of led us in different directions. We actually go to church together,
right?
Church for the Nations. And the Lord, that was a whole other story we don't have to get into today. But while we were there, my grandparents were like, because I was into theater, specifically musical theater, for a while.
Okay.
Probably about 10 years at that point. And I think I was in high school, and they're like, would you want to like help the church do something, like do a project? And I'm like, no, I can't do that. I'm not, that sounds like too much. Like,
right.
I don't even really know where to start. And they probably asked me like once or twice a year for a couple of years, like, do you want to do something? I'm like, I just don't think I could do it. I don't even know where to start. I'm 16 years old. Like I'm good. And then I always, I call it like a Holy Spirit moment, because something clicked. Like it was like the summer of 2021. I'm like, okay, well, how hard could it be? I kind of like phased out of like the theater circles I was in, and I had all this time on my hands. I'm like, well, how hard could it be? And so I asked them, I'm like, well, would you guys still be interested? They're like, yes. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna work up a presentation, because I had to present it to the church board.
Right.
And so, and New Promise was getting ready to start like a building fund. Like, we're going to build a new building. I'm like, well, this is perfect timing. So I pulled together a presentation and for Mary Poppins. I'm like, that's great. Good show. It's family.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Mary Poppins, right? And so I had made a presentation, and I had sent it to, and I was actually out of town, but I sent it to my grandparents, and they sent it to the board. And, I don't remember, the budget wasn't very big. I didn't really know what I was doing.
Right.
But the board loved it. They jumped on it, and they like tripled the budget before I even got back from vacation.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, it is on. It is on.
So they gave you the green light.
They gave me the green light. And I told my grandparents, I'll do this for free. Like, I don't want to get paid. This is just giving me some real world experience to see if I even enjoy what I'm about to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say that if I knew how hard it was going to be, I never would have done it.
Right.
But that's how the Lord works sometimes.
Right.
If he gave us all the answers, I don't think that we would do half the stuff that we're called to do.
Exactly.
So it was crazy. It was great. I learned so much. I grew a lot as a person and as a leader, but it went up, and we even made a little bit of money on it for the church. And yeah, So it was under New Promise's name, but I created Patriot kind of as like a marketing arm at first.
Okay.
But yeah, that's how it kind of started. And afterwards, I'm like, I think, hey, that was pretty fun. I think I could do it. And so then Patriot did its own like solo show.
Okay.
Fall of 2022. Mary Poppins.
And that was Mary Poppins.
Well, Mary Poppins, we did Mary Poppins with New Promise in March of 2022. And then, so I spent like 9 months working on this show, which is way longer than I work on shows now.
But you didn't have the efficiencies in place.
And I really didn't even know what to do.
Right.
I figured everything out. So it's a workshop in almost everything. And, what exactly does a stage manager do? And the kind of setting that we're creating, and, how do I make a rehearsal schedule? Like, oh yeah, we got to make a lot of props for this. Where am I going to get the set? I knew I wanted Mary Poppins to fly. You can't
have Mary Poppins without the flying.
Right. That's like the magic part of it. So we actually had a company come out and install fly equipment. And so we flew Mary Poppins, and I don't know if you've ever seen the Broadway version of Mary Poppins, but Bert does it's called the proscenium walk, and he like walks up a wall and then he walks on a ceiling. It's like magical, right?
Yeah.
But he's tapping upside down.
Right.
And then he walks back down the other side. So we did that.
No way.
So we just kind of went full out. It's kind of crazy.
So you did that with the church?
Mm-hmm.
And then you did it again with Patriot?
Yeah. So then after Mary Poppins, we started doing our own shows.
Okay.
Patriot started doing their own shows.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, for me, I've done Celebration of Christmas for my kids have been a part of it for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the 4th year this year that somebody in my family was involved in the show. 2 of the 4 years, I and my kids were in it, minus my oldest son. He plans to do it this next year. But prior to that, I'd never done any kind of theater or anything like that. And really, all I did was do a little bit of bench dancing in the circus scene of the show. I was not in any way that special. I wasn't like flying in the scene or anything like that. Take me through kind of like the process of, all right, I want to do, let's just use Newsies as the example.
Yeah.
You don't have your own theater space.
No.
So
not yet.
Which I think that you totally could at some point soon. Maybe by the time you're 26.
I hope so.
That would be rad. Take me through the process of how you do put a show together. You've figured it out, but like obviously it's not just you doing this all by yourself.
No.
There's a team of people.
There is.
But
I have a great team. They make me look good. This is what
that's what we want to do, right?
But yeah, it first comes down to like, what's the show that you're going to pick? And I have 3 different things that I take through. One, is this a show that people want to audition for?
Okay.
Because to get people to get the best cast and the best product you can, you need to have a lot of people audition. So are people going to audition for it? Will people buy tickets for it? And is this a show that you could bring your whole family to and not worry about what's going to be on stage? Because I feel like theater specifically is just something that's been totally overrun by the secular world. And Hollywood too, but
all arts have been.
And I think, as a dad, I'm sure you've had situations where like, I didn't realize that this was going to be in my kids' movie that they're watching.
Yep.
Or their show, or like, I can't take them to see this.
Right.
So I didn't want to have that. And I knew there was a way to make something quality that you could bring your whole family to. So those are the three things I take through. Will the people come out for it? Will people buy tickets for it? Can you bring your whole family to come see it?
Yeah.
So that's where I start with. The way I do it, because we don't have our own theater yet, the first thing I do is kind of reach out to my contacts and like performing arts centers, some high schools. We have some schools that we've done multiple times, some just once. And we kind of get some dates on the calendar. Like, I know what I'm looking for. I need approximately 100 hours over 2 weeks. And this is approximately what our schedule will look like. What kind of availability do you have? Spring is always easier to get than the fall. But yeah, start there. Then once I kind of have some dates in place, there's a couple of licensing companies, and they license shows to production companies. And their process is pretty easy. You just kind of fill in the information. This is the show I want. Here's the dates I'm performing it. Here's how many tickets I'm selling and how much I'm selling them for. What's my price? And if there's not any restrictions on it, it's pretty easy.
And what's the general cost? Because like my kids are involved in CYT, and the process that they go through to get the lineup for the season, because they do 3 shows in a school year. They don't always know if they're going to be able to get it. They have their desired ones, and then sometimes they have to have like a fallback.
Right.
Like, what's the general cost to acquire the rights to do a show?
Yeah. It's hard to put a number on it because it really depends on the show you're doing. Because it's like an example, we did Seven Brides for Seven Brothers fall of 2023. That's a pretty older show and not very well known. Great show, but it's going to be cheaper than doing Newsies.
Right.
Newsies is a Disney show. It has the Disney name on it. Everybody knows Newsies. It's very popular. And so it's hard to put like CYT is going to be paying something different than Patriot is.
Okay.
Because like if you're doing it as a class versus like a semi-professional or a community theater or even a professional theater, they're all going to be paying something different based on all these criteria, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but like Mary Poppins, we did a lot of shows for Mary Poppins, and I think it was around $20,000 for the rights.
Dang.
Yeah, a lot. And so lessons learned, like how does how much are we going to charge? How many tickets are we going to sell?
How do you even, okay, so now you're just unstoppable. Because in my 20s, that would have derailed me from the dream of doing a show. Like 20 grand to pull up, a show that you don't even know if you're going to make any money at it. So like, how do you even guarantee yourself? Like, how do you minimize the risk of it all?
Well, I think it's a delicate balance of cash flow for us specifically. So, and for Mary Poppins, that's kind of a one-off because New Promise Church was helping pay for it all.
Right.
So and they ended up making money, thank God.
Right. They did.
But I got to learn. I'm like, okay, what are some ways that we can cut costs and make this more effective? And so our next show is about half the budget.
Okay.
So lessons learned. And then like from there on, it's like, okay, how can I cut this down? How can I streamline this? Okay, this didn't work. Is there another product that will work for cheaper?
Okay.
Things like that. But it's cash flow. Cash flow is key. And sometimes that means Elijah is helping Patriot along. Or sometimes that means, hey, this last show is actually really successful, and we have cash flow for whatever we're going to do next. And, but yeah, if that answers your question.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because basically what what you're telling me is that you were, kind of going back to the pool business, selling off the pool business, could have potentially put the money in your pocket for you to be able to go, okay, I can invest in this show and actually execute what we're doing. Hopefully we come out break even, or maybe we make a little bit of money. But it sounds to me like you're not like rolling in the dough of, making millions of dollars doing shows. So like, is that a possibility? Like, is Patriot something that you could eventually turn into a 5 or 10 person full-time staff team, where you and your, key players are pulling a full-time salary from it?
I think so. I mean, if you look at, there's a handful of professional theaters here in the Valley that have staffs like that, have their own buildings and do 16 shows a season. Like, there's plenty of theaters out there that do it.
Which is an insane amount of shows.
Which is insane. And, there are government subsidies involved. And
oh, really?
Yeah, like, I don't know this for fact, but what I hear is Arizona Broadway Theater was built by the city of Peoria.
Really?
Yeah, to like get arts into the city.
Well, that would make sense.
So, I live in Peoria, so I was, I paid for the Arizona Broadway Theater to be built. That's what I hear, but
I got to figure that out.
I know. So I'm like, okay, who are some rich people I know?
Yeah, seriously, you got to get some connected people.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, I do feel like people are kind of burned out from the arts, and to be honest, like kind of the liberal woke side of it. I think that you kind of feel that everywhere, but I think there is an opportunity to bring back quality that people can bring their whole family to. And I do feel like Phoenix could be the next Broadway.
Okay.
I feel like there is an opportunity for that. And just kind of the connections I have and the people I talk to, we feel like Phoenix could be the next place to be.
Interesting. Well, it definitely feels like it because there's copious amounts of people moving here. So, take me back to where like it all started for you and, musical theater, like how you said you started early. So like kind of what was your first show? What made you like, one, I always wanted to be like the cool kid. And I guess you were homeschooled, so things are different because you don't really have like the stress of being made fun of. Maybe you could have been made fun of by your siblings or something like that. But like in high school, doing theater was like the uncool thing for me, even though it was always like, man, that would be really fun to do. And that's actually why I was like, okay, I'll try for Wiesel. Because I always tell my kids, like, I tried to be the cool kid. So I joined a band and played music, and I stayed out of theater because I was always so concerned with my image. And that's just silly to me now. But like, how did you get your start in theater and find that it was something that you loved tremendously, that you would want to start your own production company?
Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, I was homeschooled. And
how many siblings do you have?
I'm the oldest of 4.
Okay.
All my siblings were homeschooled. We actually all did the arts together. Same shows, or we a couple of us were in different shows at the same time, but it was a kind of a family thing. I started doing theater for a homeschool group. It was like a a company that was geared towards homeschoolers. So we met like during school hours.
Is that Mozart?
Mozart.
Okay.
Yep. And I started when I was 10 or 11.
Okay.
Yeah. And by this point, including what Patriots done, I'd probably been in 40 or 45 different plays and musicals.
Wow. Okay.
Over the last 15 years or so. So
that's wild.
Yeah.
And so you're the oldest of 4.
Mm-hmm.
So you're 24. What's your youngest?
She'll be 16 in April.
Okay. So there's an 8-year gap, right?
8, 9. Yeah.
8, 9-ish.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys were all grouped together pretty close. Let's see, there's a 9-year gap in between my oldest and my youngest as well. We have 4 as well. So you did Mozart. Did you do any other plays outside of Mozart? Where was like probably? I'll ask this. What was your favorite show growing up to do?
In Mozart or
in anywhere?
My favorite show that I've been in was Beating the Beast with Patriot.
Okay.
We did that April of 2024.
So that was pretty recent.
Yes.
And how many shows has Patriot done?
2, 3, 5, 6, 7. This will be our 8th show produced. And we've done a couple of little projects on the side here and there.
Okay.
But this will be our 8th show.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And all right, so let's go. You and 3 other people on your team. Is that accurate? I saw on the website that there were like 3, kind of this foursome that kind of makes up Patriot.
Those are kind of our mainstays. So me, Corey Hirsch has been our music director for a long time. Taylor Simpson has been our choreographer for a while. And I believe the last one on there is Zach.
I think so.
And Vic. And then Zach's been also with us since Mary Poppins.
Okay.
Our team now for Newsies, I probably need to update the website now that you mentioned. We have about 15 people on our creative team for Newsies. We have lighting designers, costume designers, prop designers, directors, music directors, choreographers,
fight choreographer,
and a fight choreographer.
How was that last night for you?
That was great.
It was so fun.
It was fun. It was a great rehearsal.
I've never been in a fight scene before. So all of a sudden, me and Jack are in the center of the stage, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm starting this thing off.
Yeah.
I was not used to that. Well, so take me to earlier I mentioned that my kids and I know McKenna, and we do go to church together, which I find interesting because prior to you guys being married, I didn't know we went to church together. How did you and McKenna meet and, find that forever love spark that led you to get married?
We met in November of 2023. McKenna actually came to one of our performances for Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Okay.
Someone on our team was working with her and the team at Dream City for a celebration of Christmas.
Was that Holden?
No, it was Zach, actually.
Okay.
And he's like, we should invite Brooke and McKenna from Dream City. I'm like, sure, send them tickets. Why not?
Yeah.
And so we actually first met there. But I remember thinking, she's way too pretty to be single. And so I just kind of waved it off. But we started talking. I realized that she wasn't single. And I actually asked her out about a month later. We went out a couple days after Christmas in 2023.
Dang.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Thank you.
all of a sudden, it was like, it was actually kind of a shock to us when we found out that McKenna was no longer working for Dream City. And so we were like, what's the show gonna be like without McKenna? Because she was like such a pivotal role in Dream City's Christmas show that, with doing choreography and basically running rehearsals, and a lot of the show prep and stuff was all communication done by her. And so we were just like, oh no, what are we going to do? And then we started seeing you guys at church, and we were like, oh, okay, so she goes to church
Yeah.
now. So it was a lot of, it was very interesting. This last season of the Christmas show was quite different. Still ran well. Everything went, as planned, but it was still like the hand of McKenna on that show. I feel like it was missed. So I hope that she knows that she's wildly missed in that production, at least from my perspective.
Well, that's great.
I mean,
I know that you're not the only person who said that. So.
Well, good. So I'm going to ask you, we've kind of been off the cuff, but I want to ask you, like, how do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as a business owner, a creative, or something else entirely?
I think I see myself as an entrepreneur.
And how do you reconcile that? Like, how do you, like, at least for me, it took me a long time to use that word entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like it holds a lot of weight, but it's thrown around in our society now so frivolously. It's like everybody's like, I'm an entrepreneur. And I'm like, dude, you're just posting videos on the internet. That's not an entrepreneurial journey. When you create something that is designed to bring people in, whether it's a pool service, an insurance agency, or a production company, those are designed to, engage with people. And I guess maybe video, if you're just posting on social media, you could be theoretically a entrepreneur. But I don't really see it that way. And that's probably why I stayed away from that title for so long, because I was like, I'm just making videos. Tell me, like, you said earlier that you've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I think naturally, because of your homeschool upbringing and seeing your dad run a company, it just kind of was ingrained in you. But like, what are some, I guess I'll ask you this way. If you see yourself as an entrepreneur, what are some other things that you could do that you would be completely fulfilled by, that maybe just like some ideas that you've never been able to do yet?
Like business ideas?
Yeah.
Man, I got so many ideas. They come and go. I'm a dreamer. Maybe that's a better word for me. I'm a dreamer. And I think I get that from my dad, because he's a dreamer. But I'm always on, like, what's the next thing?
Yeah.
What's the next adventure that me and the Lord are going to go on? How to make money off of that. Honestly, you could probably name any business. I've probably thought of a way to try to make money off of it. I almost bought a food truck.
Okay.
In high school.
In high school.
Okay. I had it all planned out. There's a food truck for sale in Miami, Arizona.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is great. It was a 1999 Chevy Astro. It was all built out. I had the business plan all set to go. The last thing I needed was get a small business loan.
Okay.
And then the food truck was bought before I get to it. But I think it was just the Lord closing a door. And that's just part of the fun of dreaming. It's like,
right.
Building something, planning it out. And yeah, If that answers your question.
Yeah, totally. Well, I think too, like, that's the way I've always been, is like, how can I earn a living at doing something other than just being in a cubicle? Like, and I think that that's why I struggle with the phrase entrepreneur, because I don't think of, like, I feel like everything's already been done.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like, there isn't anything ultimately like super creative that I'm like, because I feel like entrepreneur is like I if we're thinking about it in a way, I feel like entrepreneurs solve problems of necessity. And so when I'm thinking about entrepreneurs, I'm thinking of like small town people that live in a, let's say 50,000 to 100,000 people small town, and they're a wheat farmer or a corn farmer, or they have a small, convenience store in town. My wife's grandparents owned at one point, I remember hearing like they had 120 acres of land, and it was basically like from one street in all the way to the freeway, and on the side of the property that was close to the freeway, they built a restaurant called the Dutch Kitchen. And that's an entrepreneur to me. It's like, there needed to be a restaurant along that highway at that point. And so that was built, their family sacrificed for it. My mother-in-law was, a waitress and a hostess in that restaurant growing up. And then at one point they built a bakery. And so they had another business that was the bakery, and they did all the different pastas and breads and all of these different things, cotton candy, and they supplied it to all of the Kroger stores and all of the major grocers in and around the area. And so, like, if you're in the Midwest, you can find their Helmuth Bakery goods. And so, like, when we go to the Midwest, we see their goods in the stores. That to me is a true entrepreneur. Whereas, like, for me, living in a bigger city, I feel like there's just so many things already done that almost like there's so many options that I'm like, why would people, go with this over this? And I don't know, maybe that's just my self-deprecating, humor of like me not thinking I'm good enough for stuff. But like this, a lot of people, the people that I've invited and hosted here on the podcast are like, how did you think of this idea? And it's like, I didn't think it was anything special. I just wanted to start having conversations with people, and I would like to help small businesses be able to tell their stories in an environment where they may not have the space to, have a podcast studio in their office. And so I pull up and help them tell their story. And that's the idea of it. It has made $0 so far, but I've had lots of cool conversations.
That's awesome.
So, I say all of that because I guess I struggle with the words, or the word entrepreneur, because I think it means more, and I feel like it's just thrown around so much these days.
I feel like, you said entrepreneur is like fulfilling a necessity, which I think is true. I feel like there's some like famous entrepreneurs though that created a product and then convinced people why they need it.
Mm-hmm.
So like Steve Jobs and Apple.
Right.
And I was just looking at your watch, and I remember thinking before I used to have an Apple Watch. I don't wear it much anymore, but
I don't think that I'll get another one.
Yeah. But I remember when I had it and I was able to use it a lot, I'm like, I didn't know how much I would need this until I had it.
Right.
And so, or like Amazon, like the need to have a Prime membership, I don't know about you, but I'm ordering Amazon almost every day.
Yeah.
They showed why there was a need. And I think like for Patriot specifically, I think I found out how many people were like closet conservatives or closet believers in a secular environment, thinking that they couldn't say what they thought or what they believed. But then they saw Patriot. They're like, I had no idea something like this existed. This is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
And I think I think there will never be a point where the dreams can stop dreaming, because I think God is ultimately a dreamer. And for every person that he created, he had a dream, and he put a person around that dream so that they could partner together with it.
Yeah.
So I don't think there could be an end to creativity or to dreaming because entrepreneurship in itself, it's creativity and dreaming.
Yep.
I don't think there can ever be an end to it because we serve an unending God.
I think too that like a lot of people don't really think that they're that creative. And I think it's because our culture has like kind of siphoned it from them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you didn't experience this, but going to public school, I remember thinking like, what a waste of time. And even going to college, like just going, why am I doing this?
Right.
Like this is a colossal waste of time. And then I, in 2008, I got a job at University of Phoenix working in a cubicle, and I was like, golly, this is murder at like the slowest pace ever. And so like there are things that just kind of like suck the creativity right out of you. And you've been blessed to live in a circle and a world where you haven't had to worry about like your next creative piece. Whereas like, I think that at least for guys, I'm in my 40s, and I tend to think that there are a lot of men in their 40s that don't dream anymore. And if I can encourage you to always be dreaming, and I kind of think that I don't need to be worried about you, but the thing is that like being married and having kids, you enter into this world of like, oh, I have to make money. And you think, well, money and creativity don't go hand in hand. And they actually do. If you do it enough, dependent on the need in the market that you're in, you could be creative in anything. And I joke about it, but a lot of times I always am like, maybe we just move to Kansas and I'll buy a porta potty company and just liquid death the porta potty company and turn it into this like, creatively wrapped, company that just revolutionizes the porta potty industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I tend to think that I can't do it here, that I have to do it in a small town. But I probably could do it here.
I feel like there's so much construction here that would be a opportunity.
Yeah. And I just need to, and that's the thing is like, you can be creative even with a porta potty company.
Oh yeah.
You can be creative with a production company, and you could be creative with a videography company. There are so many ways, and I feel like we are most satisfied when we create. And like, I don't know if you've had enough life experience. Maybe you have, because you've done a lot of really cool things, but like, has there been a moment in your life where you just feel like, why am I doing this piece? And you go, okay, I need to go back to being the creative that I am.
I think there are times, specifically with Patriot, because I enjoy my job. I like insurance, like it's great. And I have flexibility with it, and it helps provide, and that's great. I think there are times with Patriot, though, specifically, I'm like, why am I doing this? Because, I don't get paid very much, if anything. And when you have people, you have problems,
Right.
issues that arise and drama to weed through and cash flow to figure out. And it's like, okay, why am I putting myself through this? And it's kind of dovetailing a little bit, but I remember having like a conversation with the Lord. I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, this is hard. Like, there are times like my personal character is just getting drugged through the mud,
right?
Because, for whatever reason, there's no good reason other than, I guess, just trials. But I'm like, Lord, why am I doing this? And he's like, I'm just praying to the Lord about it. And there's this pastor I really like in California, and he was an entrepreneur too. And he's like, Lord, I'm not making any money. Like, I'm like struggling to make payroll. Like, what's the point? He's like, you're trying to build a business, but I'm trying to build a man. And I'm like, okay, it's not about, it's like real life experience. And like for me, like the Lord trying to build me into something. And I think too, I was always like, I know I got to make money. I got to make money. And the longer I did it, the more I realized, and the Lord told me this, he's like, it's not about making money, right? It's about people. And I'm like, okay, so this is more of a ministry, huh? He's like, it's more like a ministry. And I think selling tickets and making money is a byproduct of that. And I do need to make money. Like I can't just be pouring stuff.
Yeah, you can't just be cash flowing everything.
Right. But it kind of put things in perspective. I'm like, okay, it's not about me. It's about what the Lord is doing with it. And I'm just the vessel for it. So whatever that looks like, and like the Lord could take it tomorrow. I'm like, I honestly, I'm just here to worship you, whatever that looks like. And I think kind of resetting yourself, it's like, no, it's not about me. It's not about the company that I'm building. It's all about Jesus. That's all that's important. So honestly, there's been times where like as a cast, we're just telling me like, hey, we're just need to worship for like 30 minutes as a cast. And here's a song to do it with.
Yeah.
And do it. I'm like, okay, we're going to cut into our rehearsal time. We're just going to do it. Or like, you need to pray for this person. Like there's something going on.
Yeah.
And I pray for that person like before we start rehearsal, and this person like breaks down crying because it's exactly what they needed to hear. I'm like, okay, I feel like the Lord could really use this if I stay low and stay humble and just know it's not about me. So this completely went on a different subject, but in short, Jesus can do whatever he wants with it.
Yeah. Well, I think too, that's a good reminder for me. As I've mentioned, a couple times while we've been talking, like this trailer has made me no money. It's actually been a pretty large drain so far. But I keep on feeling the necessity of it. So I think that the money will become the byproduct of it, but I have to remind myself, like, this, you got, like, okay, so to give you kind of like a little bit of a backstory on this, not that you asked for it, but at the tail end of 2024 leading into 2025, I felt like God said, you need to start offering podcasting as a piece of what you do. So most of my clients are construction companies, they're custom home builders, and I wanted to branch out to a larger audience and offer more than just, on-site construction videos and stuff like that. And really the channels that I manage for YouTube are, basically like taking people along on ground up construction. So we talk about, the construction process from, post-tension slabs to, why we're using, engineered hardwood floors. It's like there's a huge gamut of construction content that can be done through the entire process of building houses. But I wanted to get out of that a little bit and start talking to people about like what makes a business and how did they find their niche and, what have they learned through the process. And so through podcasting, I figured I could do that. And so at the tail end of 2024, I bought a little podcasting setup and I thought that people would start saying yes. But what I kept on running into was people would be like, I'd like to start a podcast, but like, I don't have anywhere to host it. And I don't know what I would talk about. And I know what people should talk about. And if I can get them to say yes, then we could probably have a good conversation. And so I was like, all right, well, if I can't get somebody to say yes and host it inside of their office, what if I built it and drove up to their office? And so I was having this conversation with one of my clients, and I wanted to build out a Sprinter van. And I still do. I still would like to, but a Sprinter van's very expensive. I figured out that after some phone calls, that it would be about $250,000 to build out a Sprinter van to do what I wanted it to do. And I was like, and it was going to be like a year. So not only was the Sprinter van costly, but the people that build them out to be able to do what it does would be a year before they would even get it into their shop.
Wow.
And I was like, I can't wait a year.
Right.
And one of my clients was like, dude, why don't you do a trailer? And I was like, a trailer? He goes, yeah. So then you're not bound by the vehicle that's pulling the trailer, because you can find a vehicle anywhere. So if like a Sprinter van breaks down, you're toast for a while. But if your truck breaks down, just hook up a different truck.
Yeah.
And I was like, genius. So I went and found this trailer at a trailer sales yard that I didn't know existed and ended up buying it. This is the first one I saw. I walked into it. It had an air conditioning unit on it. It was completely built out except for what the walls and stuff like that. And so I stepped into it and I was like, this is it. And so like the urge to do this didn't leave me for all of 2025. And so September of 2025, I bought the trailer and started building it out. And then at the tail end of 2025, I started hosting podcasts in here. And tomorrow I'll be releasing my 10th podcast.
Wow.
Which statistically speaking, almost all podcasts stop by number 10.
Oh, wow.
And so,
well, then I'm number 11, right?
Or you're like, I think 14 or 15.
All right.
So I've got a little bit of a bank. So I've got Adam Ranney coming out tomorrow. So when this podcast goes out, it'll be a few weeks after. But I've got Adam Ranney. I've got my friend who owns a franchise called Pliables, where we're talking about his franchise. And then I have you.
That's great.
So I think, yeah. So, and I'm just trying to make people aware of the podcast, but also the service that it provides. Because it's really easy for me to drive up, set up, and have somebody in here. I could sit over there and direct, and then have 2 people on a podcast.
Right.
So that's kind of the vision of it. But it's like I need to remind myself that it's about the people that could be impacted by this, not necessarily the financial gain that could come from it.
Yeah.
So I know that we're running short on time. So I'm going to ask you one more question.
Sure.
To wrap up and land this plane. If you had one piece of advice to someone who thinks that they can't make it in the arts, what would it be?
Ooh. I feel like, and it's probably going to sound cliche, but I'll elaborate, is just be yourself. And I feel like there's a lot of molds that the arts need you to be. Like, you can't be a straight white guy in the arts.
Bro. Yeah.
Right? So like, you need to be gay, or you need to be this, or you need to be that. And I would say that just be yourself, because the Lord made you this way for a reason. And I say this a lot during rehearsals, but we serve a creative God who created us to be creative. I think being creative reflects back to him, because we were made in his image.
Yeah.
So
that's definitely
being creative
true.
And maybe we'll take a step further, not just the arts. Sorry to interrupt you, but
you're fine. Go ahead.
Not just the arts, but being creative. So if that's creating a home for your family, if that's creating a business, if that's coming up with a creative idea, like the mobile podcast trailer, like all of these things, being creative reflects back to Jesus, because he created us. And I think when we're stepping into that, I think that we're, it's worship.
It is. Yeah. I think too, I have a saying that we're all mental. And that's kind of like double-sided. One, I think that we're all crazy in some kind of capacity, but also, the reason why I say we're all mental is because I think that we stand in our own way. We are all creative, and God created us, and there's a reason why everything points back to him, because he is the ultimate creator in all of this. But like, we find the most fulfillment when we are creating.
Yeah.
If you're, building a house, or building a business, or even like building a little, did you ever go to Home Depot as a kid and like do the little
crafts,
Home Depot crafts at the first of the month? I used to do that with the older kids, and they always felt so, fulfilled, because they're like, look at what I did. I should do it with my littler kids. But like, they always walked away feeling like they did something so cool. And I'm just reminded constantly that like, we were put here to be creative, and creativity looks different for each person. Some people will take pictures, make videos. Some people will create a production company that puts on live shows. Some people will build out a trailer that, allows people to have conversations. Creativity looks different, but if we don't follow through with it and we let our mental capacity stop us, then we don't feel fulfilled. And that's why I say we're all mental, because if we actually follow through with it, we learn something. And then if we don't, we get too wrapped up in our own mind.
Right.
And we get broken and we think that we're not good enough. And, one of the things that I want to do with this podcast is remind people of the miracle that they already are. Like to actually come into existence in our world, even though there's millions of people in our city and, there's billions of people globally, it's actually a miracle that we even arrived here. Conception, that's a miracle in it and of itself. To be born is a miracle. And then to make it to where you're at now is an even bigger miracle. Like there's so many people that feel like they don't belong and that they don't amount to anything. And like, I just want to, you already know this, but like, I just want to communicate to everybody that like, you're a miracle. You guys are miracles for the 19 people that are watching. This is like, the world that we live in is harsh, and the world that we live in can also be fantastic. And, you're doing something that nobody has done in Phoenix yet. Yes, people do live shows, but to do it at a capacity of, conservative values, driven by faith and putting on quality, high quality production, for people to come and see is, so rad. And
thank you.
At 24 years old, still blows my mind. I'm nervous about what you're going to accomplish by 30. You just blow me out of the water. Well, dude, you are a miracle. And I love that I get to do this show with you. Something that I never thought I'd get to do is theater, because I always wanted to be the cool kid. And I realized that all the cool kids do theater. It just took me 44 years to do it. How can people find you? And how do they get tickets to the Newsies, which, by the way, this will come out before the Newsies show, so that way
that's great.
We can at least get 12 people to the show.
We'll take it. You can find us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn.
Dope.
Yeah. Patriot Productions. Our website is patriotproductionsaz.com. That's where you can buy tickets. Everything will eventually point you to there. But yeah, come see the show. We go up in March 13th, 2026. We're opening Newsies. And Jesse here will be playing Weasel, one of the bad guys.
Hopefully I get a cool hat.
Yeah, he wants a cool hat. I think we'll make that happen.
I want a cool hat and a cool tie.
All right.
Awesome, dude. Thanks for joining me here today, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, Jesse.